Jude. Can you say hi, Jude?
Hi,
And
Jude.
Jude was diagnosed with leukemia when he was 18 months old. And acute lymphoblastic leukemia is actually the most common childhood cancer. And it has a survival rate in between 80 and 90%. Um, but that statistic is misleading because it makes it sound like everyone has a good outcome. And there's children like Jude who have more aggressive types that relapse. Jude has relapsed 3 times
Hmm.
and is only alive today because of research developed in the past couple years. He's had 2 bone marrow transplants and has participated in 2 different clinical trials for CAR T cell, which is immunotherapy, where they took cells from his body, trained them to fight the cancer, and put them back in his body. So he's pretty much a miracle, and that's why I'll always fight for more research for childhood cancer.
So, why do you think that childhood cancer is so underfunded? Is there something that's causing that to happen?
It's a variety of a bunch of bad factors. One is that the federal government only funds the NIH only funds 4% of their funding only goes to childhood cancer research. And the reason that they give is that childhood cancer is quote unquote rare when you look at the actual number of cases in kids versus adults. But if you look at different metrics and ways that it's broken down, the average number of years of life lost to cancer for children is, sorry, I have it written down here, is 71 versus for adults it's 15. And the average age at diagnosis for kids is 6, whereas for adults it's 67. So I think the way that the federal government bases its funding is wrong. Because if they based it on the number of years life lost, kids would qualify for a lot more funding.
Hmm.
Um,
Exactly.
that's for the federal government. And then on top of that, pharmaceutical companies, for adult cancer drugs, 60% of new research comes from pharmaceutical companies, and close to zero is for childhood cancer drugs. And that's just because there's fewer kids that get cancer as a proportion of the whole population. It's less profitable.
And
Um,
in terms of and so then what do you think as a parent of a child with cancer and as someone who's knowledgeable in this topic, what do you think that we should be doing? What is there certain organizations that you think we should be donating to, certain things we should be saying to raise awareness?
yes, I think I like that question because I think a lot of times people get in the mindset that parents did something wrong when kids have cancer, and there's all these studies that say if you eat hot dogs, you're more likely to get cancer. And frankly, I think that's garbage, and it's easier to blame parents than to just face the reality that it's so scary that any kid could get cancer. It's an article on NPR just came out saying that it's more bad luck. So I think what people need to do is speak out, and I think the More Than Four campaign, which I think you talked about, I think that's a good campaign because it puts pressure on the federal government to fund research more and to change their metric rather than basing it on percentage of a population, base it on years of life lost and encourage them to fund
Exactly.
more. One other thing that I've actually personally done is I'm just getting involved in a fundraising campaign for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. And before I committed to the campaign, I actually spoke to their chief scientific officer and said, I'll do this, but you need to prioritize childhood cancer research funding more. And I think having parents like me and just concerned citizens put pressure on big nonprofits. The Leukemia and Lymphoma Society is actually, it's in their strategic plan to fund childhood cancer research at a higher rate. Um, and they also have quite a few impressive projects that they have funded. So that's why I felt comfortable supporting them. But still,
Good.
even though I'm supporting them, I'm still going to be bugging them to fund
To
more.
make sure that they're giving
Uh,
more to pediatrics.
yeah. And then I think the other thing too is to support nonprofits like Alex's Lemonade Stand and St. Baldrick's, which are awesome because they fund fund all different types of childhood cancers. With leukemia, I hate to say the word lucky because you're never lucky with leukemia, but you're lucky in the sense that there is a group like the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society that specializes in just blood cancers. But for some other childhood cancers like neuroblastoma or sarcomas, which are cancers of the bone, they occur more commonly in childhood, some of them almost exclusively in children, and they don't have like a big national nonprofit like the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. So that's why supporting something like St. Baldrick's or Alex's Lemonade Stand is really important. They also do a lot of really good work with lobbying in Washington, D.C. and just raising awareness for childhood cancer and the need for more research.
Perfect. Thank you so much for answering these questions. It was so great talking with you.
It was great